Spoilers! It's a word that strikes fear into the hearts of many who seek entertainment of any kind. Whether it's a major event in a Star Wars film, a twist you didn't see coming in one of M. Night Shyamalan's early horror films, or a heartbreaking moment from the latest Marvel blockbuster, or a massive surprise in the latest entry of your favorite AAA video game series, or a cameo appearance of someone unexpected in the latest episode of your favorite show. So many of us attempt to avoid spoilers in the media we excitedly seek out. Some folks stay out of the comments sections of related videos here on YouTube, while others hide their eyes from social media, where a friend might post something they didn't know yet about the Amazon series they just binge-watched. Others still just avoid the internet altogether until being able to experience certain media for themselves. Throughout our pop culture history in movies, TV shows, story-driven video games, and books, there are countless wonderful moments that so many of us know and have enjoyed seeing for the first time without knowing what to expect. Some moments are so big that even people who've never experienced these moments for themselves just so happen to know about them anyway. Well, I'm here to warn you. This video essay is about what I believe to be the single biggest major movie spoiler that people never knew was ruined for them. So before we get started, I'd like to first ask those of you who are lucky enough to know little to nothing about the Terminator to please stop this video right now. I'm serious, don't look up anything about any of the films. Don't even look at the thumbnails for any of the videos here that might be recommended to you right now as a result of watching a video about Terminator movies. And then go watch James Cameron's action, horror, sci-fi masterpieces, The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Because this video is about something related to those two movies that, once you know, you can never experience what so many of us will never get to. You will get to see Terminator 2 Judgment Day, my personal favorite film of all time, as James Cameron had originally intended it to be. You will get to see a movie in which the biggest spoiler ever was ruined for almost everyone else who originally saw it in the theater. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. A few years ago, I was browsing in the movies subreddit when I saw a post related to the Terminator movies about a classic argument on whether the original or the sequel was better. And as I mentioned, Terminator 2 is my favorite film, so of course, I had to jump in and see what my fellow fans were saying in the comments. As I began to scroll through, one small comment jumped out at me, and it suddenly made me realize something about Terminator 2. One Redditor had made a joke about how James Cameron had named his Alien sequel Aliens, but didn't name his sequel to the Terminator the obvious choice, which was The Terminators, but instead the title Terminator 2. Well, Terminator 2 Judgment Day if we're being pedantic, or the sometimes abbreviated T2 Judgment Day, but I digress. In any case, I had recently watched it again, probably for the 50th time or so, and began to suddenly pick up on something I should have noticed a long time ago. After thinking this thought, and watching it again, I now know it has to be true. James Cameron called his film Terminator 2 instead of The Terminators for one specific reason. It would have been a spoiler for the film, at least it would have been if Terminator 2 had come out being promoted specifically the way Cameron seemed to have originally had intended. You see, Terminator 2's original teaser trailer, which in my opinion by the way is the single greatest movie trailer of all time, was made by Stan Winston via James Cameron's specific request and is a perfect example of how a trailer should be made. This original T2 trailer is short, visually incredible, and really just absolutely spectacular. It gets anyone, even folks who have no idea what's going on, really excited. There's no plot spoilers, there's nothing from the actual film, but in the good way, not like with, say, Rogue One, where they showed shots that looked like they were from the movie that never ended up being in it, but were great for promoting the film. That's kind of, I think, dishonest to the audience. This was in a good way. Basically like a super short film made just for promoting Terminator 2, not for showing content from the actual film. You know what? Let's just watch. It's amazing, and this is my favorite part. Ooh, goosebumps, right? Anyway, back to my point about Terminators being a spoiler title. The Winston trailer was released probably before the studio executives started dumping money into what would become the biggest movie marketing campaign for what was at the time the most expensive film ever made. And we're not just talking your typical stuff like movie trailers or TV commercials or whatever. We're talking licensed toys, games, promos that were shot specifically for video rental stores, Halloween costumes, everything you can imagine that was a potential tie-in to the movie was done. And unfortunately for all of us, that marketing campaign included the studio's own movie trailer, complete with
the movie trailer voice guy,
who proceeded in the trailer to then flippantly reveal what would have otherwise been one of the most massive twists ever in what soon was called one of the biggest blockbuster films of all time. So what is the spoiler? To explain that, let's go over what happens in the first 20 minutes or so of Terminator 2. While we go over this, I want you to put yourself in a very particular mindset while you watch those first minutes. And I want you to think as though you've never seen any promotional material for Terminator 2. You've only watched the first film fairly recently, and that's all you know. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that Cameron initially ambiguously hides the fact that Robert Patrick's character is actually a Terminator. Think about this very carefully. When Cameron shows Arnold the first time in Terminator 2, we see him walk into a bar. There are multiple cuts to the red Terminator vision through Arnold's eyes. Arnold breaks some people's arms, he stabs and otherwise violently injures people and demands their belongings, which is very similar, if not nearly identical, to his initial encounters with people in the first Terminator movie. Now let's take a look at Robert Patrick's character introduction. The very first time Robert Patrick is shown, Cameron makes sure not to show Patrick's hand, which we later learn can turn into a knife-like shape as he presumably stabbed the police officer that he encountered upon his arrival. Already you know Arnold is a Terminator, but because of the first movie, you're likely then to presume, based on Terminator 2's very familiar seeming setup, that Patrick's character was to be similar to the hero protector of the first film, Kyle Reese. As a viewer who never saw that studio-driven marketing campaign trailer, but saw the first Terminator film, you could easily assume that Robert Patrick's character was not stabbing the police officer, but that maybe he was just punching the cop to knock him out so he could steal the officer's clothes and help him blend in. But as an informed viewer, you know that Patrick's character didn't need the clothes, as he could just shapeshift. But that is not shown. Your mind might fill in a gap here, but again, Cameron was careful. In that first 20 or so minutes when we are with Robert's character, we never shift to that red Terminator vision. We see no on-screen killing, no stabbing or shape-shifting from that character. The initial violence occurs on screen only when we are with Arnold. If anything, Patrick's character initially comes across pretty similar to how Kyle Reese did, if only a little more cool and collected as he goes about his mission of finding John Connor. Watch how calmly he asks John's foster parents about him and is even careful to come across as less robotic than Arnold's portrayal of a Terminator. He's even smiling and polite. Cameron even makes sure to first show the "To Protect and Serve" decal printed on the side of the police squad car and keeps it framed when Patrick pulls up to the foster parents' home initially. Then there's the brilliant, subtle moment of foreshadowing when the foster parents ask Patrick's character about a big guy on a bike that showed up, Arnold's character, and Patrick's character slyly shifts his gaze, almost like a fox, and replies with a double entendre for the knowing audience. "I wouldn't worry about him." No, poor foster parents, it is the T-1000 you should be worrying about. The very first time you as an audience and young John Connor are finally made to understand that it is Arnold who is the protector, and that Patrick is a newer, more advanced, and dangerous type of Terminator that is actually the villain of the movie, is the mall hallway showdown between the T-800 and the T-1000. In that moment where both of their guns are drawn, the T-800 coldly crushes the Rose with its black leather boot, and it appears that John is about to die. And then, the camera zooms in on the T-800 in slow motion, about to fire his weapon, focusing from the gun to Arnold's face, and that famous line is then said,
"Get down."
The tension finally breaks as the T-800 warns John of danger instead of blasting him like we thought he would. The truth is finally clear and no longer ambiguous. Even before the T-800 shoots the T-1000 with the shotgun, revealing both that Patrick's character is neither the hero nor human, the audience, along with John, immediately learns through those two commanding words,
"Get down."
who is here to help him and who is here to kill him. It is also after that initial shotgun blast in this fight that you first see the T-1000's now infamous liquid metal structure and its ability to near instantly heal itself within seconds, making this new antagonist seem almost completely invulnerable, even from another Terminator as fearsome as the T-800. This is the moment spoiled, no, stolen from us as moviegoers. It is one of the single most amazing and would have been one of the most surprising twists in a major action film of all time. Further still, it's also a brilliant callback to the reveal in the original Terminator film, where you see the hero uses a shotgun to shoot the villain wielding a pistol. A villain who then gets back up, letting the audience and the character of the young Connor know that the Terminator is not just some killer, but not human, as no person could survive such an onslaught of near point-blank shotgun fire. The non-Winston Cameron trailer spoils this carefully crafted ambiguous direction by Cameron that allows an uninformed audience member to enjoy discovering for themselves the true nature of Robert Patrick and Arnold's characters, as if they were young John Connor themselves in that very moment that John also learns who is his ally and who is his enemy. In that non-Winston Cameron trailer, when you see the words,
"Same model, new mission,"
and then the studio trailer narrator tells you,
"This time he's here to protect,"
this amazing reveal that Arnold as a Terminator was a hero rather than the villain, and that the audience presumed hero was actually a completely new and even more dangerous Terminator out to kill instead of protect. It was horribly ruined. And there's no way to go back and unknow that and see it for the first time. And so, if Cameron had titled the film what seemed to make more sense with the existing naming convention, i.e. The Terminators, you'd be more likely to figure out his twist. Another thing I've noticed in the years since my lengthy reply to this Reddit thread is how many people seem to hold this theory in skepticism. Maybe they don't want to believe it was ruined for them. Maybe they misremember how a scene went, or even the order of scenes.
Wait, didn't the T-1000 hurt the dog first?
Or,
Bad to the Bone is too silly of a song to be the theme for a villain. It was obvious he was a good guy.
well, here's the thing. Most of us who saw it in the theater or on a VHS tape when it was first released forget how many commercials there were that, again, casually spoil the T-1000 reveal. Just check out this kids' toy commercial. They casually spoil the T-1000 reveal. It's really hard to isolate ourselves from it all. But here's one more thing I've discovered that's kind of renewed my faith in the idea that I'm correct on this. Terminator 2 first-time viewer reaction videos. Those of you who are doubting Cameron's brilliant ambiguity in T2, do yourself a favor and search for these videos. Better yet, see if you can get someone who didn't grow up at that time to watch both the original Terminator and then Terminator 2 films without telling them anything else. Watch what happens in the mall shootout scene when they hear those words.
Get down.
And Arnold blasts the T-1000. In each video I've been able to find where someone's reacting, their eyes widen with surprise and they audibly react and even often comment on how they didn't realize that the cop was not the good guy. So here's the point. Spoilers suck. These days, spoilers this big seem to have become less frequent, thankfully, at least in official promotional content. Sometimes spoilers are unavoidable, given the nature of how a majority of content is promoted. So how can this at least be minimized? Well, it's wishful thinking, but in my opinion at least, marketing campaigns should only be allowed to publish content they make under approval from the creative director, not advertising and studio executives. I am willing to bet that if noted and perhaps even infamous perfectionist director James Cameron could have forced the studio, he would not have allowed any sort of promotional material that ruined this moment. But for whatever reason, he was not able to. I haven't found any interviews with Cameron asking him about this, but I would love to find out what Cameron's thoughts are on this matter. Maybe someday we'll know for sure whether or not Cameron intended us to know this or for it to be ambiguous. But for now at least, it's just a theory. A film.
I'll be back.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I know this is yet another completely random video that I've done like just out of the blue many years after I seem to have an active channel, but I just decided to use some free time during the pandemic to make this, and I hope you like it. Maybe if it gets a few thousand views or something, my ego will see the need to try and make some more stuff like this. But anyway, comment, like, I don't know, subscribe, pester me, tell me things that you would like for me to do. Maybe I'll do it, I don't know. But again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening to the end. I hope you have a good one, and yeah, don't spoil stuff for people. Alright, take it easy.